Princess and the Goatherd. Treacle, fill us in on the story so far.
Well, Gonzo Bonzo had caught the apple that the Princess Snobby Knickers had thrown 100 times, which was 100 times more than anyone else had caught it, to be honest, right?
Right.
So he'd gone on to start the 3 tasks, and the first one was to keep all the hares in the meadow. But as we learned last time, hares jump about a lot. But he had a golden magic flute what an old lady had given him. So he just played on that and some magic came out and all the hares boiled back into the meadow.
Right.
But then the princess turned up dressed as a farm girl in disguise, and she tried to buy an hare off him, but he played his magic flute and the hare jumped out of her basket. So then the king said, "Right, I'm going to sort it."
Well done, Treacle.
So what happened next, Papa?
Well, the king also dressed up in disguise as a farmer, and he took a donkey from the stables and rode it down to the pasture. There he saw Gonzo Bonzo sitting on a tree stump, surrounded by all the royal heirs without a care in the world.
I say,
Called out the king.
I would like to buy one of those hares. I'll give you 10 gold pieces.
But Gonzo Bonzo was not as daft as he was turnip looking, and he recognised King Pantaloon straight away, right?
Right.
And he said, "I'll give you a hare, but you have to give your donkey a big kiss."
Oh, I like that, yeah. The king realised there was nothing else to be done, so he went up to his donkey, puckered up his lips,
and gave it a great big smooch right on its hairy nose, and the donkey really enjoyed it. The king didn't know.
No, he didn't. But he grabbed an hare from Gonzo Bonzo, got back on the donkey and trotted away. But, you guessed it, as soon as he was out of sight, Gonzo Bonzo played a little tune on his golden flute and...
Hippity hoppity hop, the hare jumped off the back of the donkey and went back to the pasture.
When the king reached the castle, he and Princess Snobby Knickers were both flabbergasted to see that he hadn't returned with the promised heir after all. And just then, the gamekeeper arrived to tell them that the Goatherd had just arrived back, bringing all 100 hares safely with him.
So he had completed the first task.
Cool, blimey.
Said King Pantaloon.
What is to be done?
"We shall just have to make the next task even harder," said the princess.
Done,
said the king. The following morning, Gonzo Bonzo turned up at the castle at 7 to find out what the second task would be. King Pantaloon and Princess Snobby Knickers showed him down to the cellars.
This is your second task,
said the king.
Here are 100 sacks of lentils mixed up with 100 sacks of peas. You must separate them out by midday.
Oh!
In the dark.
Ah, very good, added the princess. And with that, she closed the shutters on the small window, and they both left, barring the door behind them, leaving poor Gonzo Bonzo in complete pitch black.
"Oh, Gonzo Bonzo, play the golden flute."
Ah, what a good idea. Gonzo Bonzo took the flute out of his pocket and started to play. All of a sudden, from every nook and cranny came thousands and millions of ants. They scurried all over. What's the matter with you?
"I've got ants in me pants."
Oh dear. Them ants scurried all over the cellar, carrying peas one way and lentils the other, and by the time the king and the princess returned at midday, them ants had done the job, and there was 2 perfect hills, one green one red.
Thank you, ants.
Well, the king was apoplectic.
What does that mean?
It's what Grandma gets when I come home late from the football.
Oh.
Yeah, apoplectic. And he took Princess Snobbyknickers, who was practically sobbing with despair, aside.
Don't you worry your pretty little head, daughter.
He assured her.
The final task is impossible. No one could complete it.
Then he turned to Gonzo Bonzo.
Well, young man,
He said,
you are proving yourself a pretty creditable contestant. I shall reward you with a feast. Eat, drink, and be merry, for this evening we shall tell you your final task.
and he had a servant take Gonzo Bonzo to the royal dining hall. There he saw a long table groaning under the weight of all sorts of delicious food.
Was there ice cream?
Oh yes.
And jelly?
Yep.
And cake?
Yeah, and soup and chicken and salad and potatoes and pork pies and cheese and fish and fruit and wine and all sorts.
Licorice all sorts?
No. But there was so much food, and as we know, Gonzo Bonzo didn't even get to eat his apple the other day, so he was starving like Marvin,
Who is Marvin?
his brother. And Gonzo Bonzo ate the whole lot and licked the plates clean. His tummy was so full when he'd finished, he thought he might like to have a little nap. But then King Pantaloon and Princess Snobbypants come in.
Was it time for the final task?
Indeed it was. The king and the princess led Gonzo Bonzo to the pantry. It was piled high with bread of all kinds. White bread and wholemeal and buns and croissants and baguettes and baps.
Your final task, said the princess, because I think I can guess where this is headed, is to eat every last morsel and not leave a single crumb. Am I right?
You are, Treacle. And the king added,
We shall return in 2 hours and test for crumbs with a feather. Bon appetit.
I suppose they thought that because Gonzo Bonzo had finished off the entire feast, he wouldn't have any room in his tummy for any more food, right?
You got it.
But they weren't counting on the
Golden
flute.
flute.
What do you reckon happened when he played this time?
I reckon mice. Lots and lots and lots of mice came and started eating all the bread.
Brilliant. Let's do that. There was thousands of the little critters. Black mice and brown mice and white mice and grey mice. They swarmed all over that bread and gobbled it all up.
So that when King Pantaloon and Princess Snobbyknickers returned after 2 hours and brushed every surface of the pantry with the feather, they found not one single crumb.
Gonzo Bonzo had done it. He'd completed all 3 tasks.
Yay for Gonzo Bonzo and the mice and the ants and the little old lady and her magic golden flute. So, did poor Gonzo Bonzo have to marry Princess Snobbyknickers?
Well, he did, but he was well up for it, 'cause she was a princess after all, which would make him a prince. And she was very pretty with her long golden hair. But the truth was, as soon as King Pantaloon reluctantly agreed that Gonzo Bonzo could marry the princess, the former goatherd took out his golden flute. And the second he started playing it, the king realised it would make rather a fine son-in-law after all. And the princess realised that he was actually a very nice, clever and handsome young man, despite the difference in their upbringing. And there and then she fell madly in love with him.
I was hoping that you were going to tell me that when Gonzo Bonzo started playing the flute, King Pantaloon and Princess Snobbyknickers exploded in a puff of smoke.
I'm afraid not. It all ended, as all good stories do, happily ever after.
Okay. Prince Gonzo Bonzo married Princess...
Treacle,
What?
Treacle, be nice.
All right, Daffodil. And they went on to rule the kingdom happily and wisely.
There you go. Good girl.
But Grumpy the Goat bridesmaid ate the princess's wedding dress and Gonzo Bonzo kept hold of his flute just in case.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that story.
I did, thank you, Papa. Hope you all did too. See you next time, friends. Bye!
Ta-ra, Treacles. Treacle,
What?
Treacle, be nice.
All right, Daffodil.